the FNL Network talk show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the FNL Network talk show. I am your host tonight, Marianne Estridge, and we have with us the beautiful Eugenia Kuzmina, the beautiful Bettina Sky, and the lovely Holly Hester. How is everybody doing today?
Amazing. Looking forward to Valentine's.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Valentine's Day is coming up. Oh my, we're gonna have to touch on that a little bit because I have my opinion on Valentine's Day too. So, well, we've got some very interesting topics to begin with today. So I guess we will go ahead and get started. So the first topic I'm going to bring up, it's brought controversy, maybe a lot of controversy, discussing Maddona at the Grammys. There has been a lot of cruel words, a lot of stuff coming out from different people talking about her face. I'm curious to know what everybody's thoughts are. Is it okay to shame people like this, the media? Do you think it's entertainment, or do you think it's gone too far, and do you think it's cruel and body shaming? I'm going to start with you, Holly. What are your thoughts?
I honestly, body shaming is always cruel to me. I think that, I think there's so much pressure out there today. There's so much pressure, and I've never seen anything like it where people are blasted. And I have never been in the day and age where a picture, I just saw in the Daily Mail that Haley Baldwin, they were putting her under so much scrutiny. How old she is right now? She's 24, 23, 24, somewhere around there. And there was a picture of her. Yeah, there was a picture of her when she was like 17. Picture of her now, and I'm telling you, they're just saying that this is different, that they're naming at least 20 things that are different about her. And it's like, what if you can't prove it? Okay, so she's had it. If you can't prove it, it's their business. So I just think too many things are under scrutiny right now, and it just let people be. And if they want to get plastic surgery, or if we want to get enhanced in some way, or if we just want to live out our natural days, Dolly Parton once said, she was asked about plastic surgery herself, and she said, honey, I don't touch a thing on my body unless something is dragging, bagging, or sagging. And so that's so true. Some women are just a little bit more peculiar about that. Things are hereditary. I'm going to be completely transparent right now, just because I can laugh at myself. Sometimes I'm insecure about really dark circles under my eyes, because that's hereditary to me. And that my plastic surgeon even said to me, yes, I concealed it. Oh my God, I have a plastic surgeon. This is also silly. Yes, of course, we all get work done. We're women. If something if we're bothered by something, go fix it. If we're not bothered by it, go ahead, stay you. We love you no matter what. But they even pointed out, they said, you have really dark circles under your eyes, but don't touch it. I was fascinated by this. I thought they were going to sell me so that I would get more. That's why they're my plastic surgeon. They said, don't touch it. They gave me sound advice. So I don't believe in body shaming. I believe be who you're going to be. I believe our bodies are beautiful. They're to be fearfully made and continued on and lived out. We should be youthful. We should feel youthful no matter who says what against us. We should be able to beautifully express ourselves.
Everybody has something they don't like about themselves.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you want to get work done. I've had a little bit of work done, a little bit of Botox here and there. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's a personal choice. And I believe our personal choices should be respected. Eugenia, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I'll answer a question with a question. How many times have you heard people discussing somebody like Sylvester Stallone, plastic surgery, or, Mickey Rourke, or anybody else? How many times have you had that brought up? So for me, it brings a bigger question. How much of the patriarchal culture can, put women under microscope? And I was watching this documentary, which is very, very interesting. It was at Sundance this year, and I think you guys have to watch it just to understand. Being in the film industry, I study a lot of how camera treats women and, whatever is the object and the subject. And I found this documentary, which I found just fascinating, and sent it to all my friends. And it's called Brainwashed: Sex, Power, and I think, one second, I have to make sure. Brainwashed: Sex, Camera, and Power. So, it shows you how somebody is a subject and an object. And I think psychologically, it's very interesting to research in our society. There's a lot of it's not even gender thing, it's just the power. I think it is about the power. And I think a lot of times, as women specifically, maybe now we're put under so much pressure to be an object of desire. And it screws with that. And, you come out of this old kind of paradigm where you have to please somebody and all your values are based on how you look. I personally love this one model who's, and, coming from modeling industry, when you're 12, forget it. From then, it's downhill. I swear to God, 13-year-olds advertising creams for anti-aging just because you can't Photoshop, because it's a regulation of the product. You can't Photoshop. Or I did a cream advertisement for a huge brand. And to tell you, they said, you sign a contract, they can't Photoshop anything because they apparently have to prove to, women that it's not Photoshopped. But at the same time, they put a 16, 17-year-olds under cinema lights. And the girl who was hired before me, she had to stare into the light because they want to make it look perfect, right? The cinema light. And she burned her retina. She had to go to the hospital. She couldn't open her eyes. I was hired next. And I don't know, I have weird eyes that are super blue, but I can stare at the sun literally. So I survived.
Wow.
Yeah, it is weird, but thank God I survived the job. But also it made me think a lot about what we're exposed to and what am I advertising. Of course I had to take the money. But if I had a power, I would step and said something about that. There is this one model, her name is Polina Poroshkova. She's from Eastern Europe. She has an amazing book out, and she's kind of famous for, being on cover of Vogue at 57. And she doesn't have Botox. She has her hair let go, and she's so vulnerable talking about these things. I think it's so important for women to know that beauty is not permanent. We try to, like she said, I would say, got an inspiration from her. We try to hold on to objects as they are. We buy Rolexes, we buy cars, we want them to be beautiful, we want to hold on to that. But actually, real human beauty, no matter who you are, man or woman, whatever you identify as, it's transitional. I think there's beauty in winter, there's beauty in summer, and we don't celebrate it as a culture. I think it's a huge problem, no matter who you are, especially if you're put under a microscope. And I can tell you from having so many musician friends, music industry is so much tougher. And
really?
Yes. And even,
wow.
And I understand, as an artist, you always have to reinvent yourself. You have to sell tickets. There's so much pressure that you're put under. It's so easy just to come into fear. Okay, if I never sell another record, if, I'm never going to be enough. And that's the culture of fear, not being enough. And you're all by yourself. I think it's very easy to succumb to not having a value. Sorry, my dog agrees with that. He's like, yes, go for it. Stay with it. But yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure. I think we should appreciate perfections. And, I love French culture in that sense. Women have elegance, there is style, there's things that we celebrate. Wrinkles are mapped to your soul. It's all about where you've been, and it's smile lines. You have to preserve that. I think it's real beauty is so much more precious. And I wish our culture celebrated more that. I wish the cameras celebrated more that. That's it. My dog is very angry, so you guys follow up. I can talk for hours about that.
Oh, Eugenia, I absolutely agree. And I like how you connected this to other people in the industry that you have met with. And you're right about the patriarchy. I feel very strongly about that, and that it does strongly influence the way women are viewed and the way they are supposed to look. Can't stand it. Has it affected me emotionally? Of course it has. You know, I've been in the industry. I know what it's like. But Eugenia, I think you have a lot more experience than I do in the industry, and you've probably seen way more. And it's like, it's probably never enough. It's like, and when are people going to realize we have to make a change in this? People have to make a stand. And I think they're starting to. I really do. Bettina, what are your thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the idea of any plastic surgery or anything fake or anything. I've never done anything like that. I don't think it's good. I think we should be aging gracefully and beautifully and show the world what it is like. You don't see that hardly anywhere. You know, you see all these fake faces. And I also agree, why are we doing this to ourselves? Because we've been brainwashed by male, the patriarchy, decided what real beauty looks like. You see people in magazines and models with all retouched and cut, and young women are trying to look like these pictures that have been retouched anyways by lipo and cutting and all kinds of crazy stuff that is very not real. So these young women have these like totally fake faces and fake bodies because that's how men want to see women. I don't think it has anything to do with how women want to look. Like, what is that? Why do we want to look that way? Like, only because they want us to look that way. It doesn't make any sense to me. So even as an actress in the industry, I prefer to look like how I look and take roles where they want someone who looks their real age. I mean, it's disheartening. You know, when I was very young, I worked as a stripper for like 5 years. And during that time, I had to always look a certain way. It was very important. I did fasting. I became anorexic. I was in the hospital for a while with that. And so it took me a little bit of time to like get out of that and just be like, want to do what really works for me, not because I have to look a certain way to make money. So I'm pretty against like all this plastic surgery. Now, when it comes to Maddona, she was a role model of mine. Like in the 80s, she was like doing her own thing and very charismatic and very powerful and woman oriented. So it's a little confusing why someone like her would go and make her face look like that, unless in the back of my mind there's a tiny percentage that she kind of did something crazy like that on purpose to create more controversy. And look, we're talking about her and this issue way more than we're talking about like the people that she introduced. You know, we're still talking about her, which is, you know, what she wants. So there is part of me that says she went a little bit ultra crazy with the plastic surgery just to make some sort of point about it. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know if that's true, but that's kind of makes a little more sense to me than someone who has like all the money in the world and can go to the best plastic surgeons in the world, and that's what she came up with. It's a little crazy. I mean, to me it seems, although to me it seems that someone like Maddona would want to age gracefully and show us, you know, how it's supposed to be done. That's what I think.
I think a lot of times
I really appreciate.
Yes, sorry.
Sorry.
I think a lot of times you're surrounded by people who advise you and pressure you into things. And I think for an artist, sometimes it's hard to see clearly.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I'm so sorry. Well, if I can just add this one comment. I think Eugenia opened up a great Bettina, she opened up a great one as well, that Maddona, and she's reinvented herself. But I think Eugenia has opened up a new discussion about what it's really about, you know, and what this, like, what's the real deal behind it? Like, I think I would have to agree with everyone when I say that this is some patriarch thing of Hollywood, some man's publicist that's married this wife, and they're both in the media. and she is not up to his standards. So he had to pay his publicist just to shame her. And then he knew the next day that she would that she would see it on Google, or that somebody would bring it to her attention, and she would go, I need what? I need more what? Or she knew that it would circulate and get back to her. So I believe that this is totally, patriarch stuff. I completely agree with you all. Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
guys ever see the Twilight Zone when there was one when everyone looked like, what was it, like everyone had this like I think it was everyone had a pig face. Did you remember that one? And they had to give that woman like plastic surgery, and she came out looking like a natural beauty in our beauty standards, but everyone thought she looked horrible because the natural beauty was pig face. And I think it's related to that. Like we've all kind of have this idea of what beauty's supposed to look like, and it's not, it's fake. Now, I was doing an episode of Saturday Night Live. This is also many years ago, and Pamela Anderson was on that episode, and we were doing a remake of that Twilight Zone episode with Big Face, and when it was Pamela Anderson was playing the lead character, so it made sense. But unfortunately, I mean, I thought that was great. I heard her talking; she didn't even understand the skit. She was like, "There was a Twilight." This is like the day of the shoot. She's asking me, "This was a Twilight Zone episode?" I'm like, yeah, didn't you get the whole point of this episode? Like a random piece of information that popped up my brain. But I don't know. It's the point of can't we really accept women for their actual beauty as opposed to trying to fake it with these fake procedures? I mean, it was at the gym the other day. My trainer's like, yes, I always get Botox. Everyone does it. Like little here, little here. Like everyone doesn't do it. I don't do it. I'm 62. I'm not going to do it.
And you brought up a good point, and I also wanted to say thank you for being vulnerable and talking about your struggles with the eating disorder, because I think that's a very real problem. I've had a struggle with it when I was younger. It's not easy, and I do think that the patriarchal society has definitely contributed. I really do. And my thoughts on Maddona is I just choose to focus on her talent. She's very talented. She's done a lot with her life. I have so many of her songs on my playlist, and I have since I was a very little girl. I love her music. I think she's talented. I think she's an icon. Nobody knows what is going on in her life. Nobody knows what's caused the change in her face. Is there a change? Yeah, there's a change. But is it really, it's not someone, in my opinion, it's not someone's business to bash her. Yeah. Let's focus on the positive aspects of who she is. She's talented. She has a very good career behind her. I hope she's okay. I hope her mental health is okay. I hope her physical health is okay. But you really never know what's going on in another person's life. So being kind, I think, is absolutely the best way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if we focus on talent rather than other things, and her name is Maddona, I think she is so smart. Come on, to survive in the society that she came up in, you just have to be very smart as a woman.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I will go ahead and get into our next topic. This one has been all over the news. The Chinese spy balloon that was shot down over South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, which a friend of mine lives there and actually got it on video, which the video is online as well. But there has been so much controversy on this balloon and what its purpose was. And there have been so many different theories and stories on what people think. What do you guys think? Bettina, what are your thoughts?
Well, I have a crazy thing to say. I work as a balloon twister. So the idea of the idea of bursting down a balloon was initially I didn't like it at all. I mean, I don't like balloons. I just and the other thing is we really have no idea what this was about. Whatever they're telling us, whatever it actually is, why they shut it down, why they took a long time to shoot it down, what it was. We just don't know. We just don't know. So it's hard to really comment on it. I mean, it seems a little scary. Like there's a balloon from China, you know, kind of trying to gather information and stuff, but I don't know, you know, we don't really know what it was or what, you know, if you should have shut it down or not. I mean, you know, and I don't think it's just like one person's decision either, you know, to do that. I think it was like a governmental group decision in some way, military and, you know, defense, smart people. I don't know, but maybe it will be revealed to us in the future and maybe it won't. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree that it's kind of scary. When I heard about it, I was like, because I saw all these memes going on Facebook, and I'm like, what is this? You know, I wasn't quite sure what I was looking at, but then I did the research, and I was like, wow. My brain went to so many different options of what it could be, and yeah, I agree. It could be quite scary, but there's really no way to know for sure. Eugenia, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, as my friend who is a British comedian and publicist, Christine Peake, said, like, oops, I released some balloons for my birthday today. Didn't know it will cause so much trouble. You know? I do think it's definitely political. Let me call CIA and FBI and all the other people to make sure I'm releasing the correct information at this point for you guys on this channel. I think it's very hard to guess. I mean, I do know that there is a potential war between China and US on so many levels, and the new war is not physical. It's definitely, you know, cyber war. It's a war of information. I know personally, just being in the entertainment business, when the Sony studio was hacked, I knew that's how it's starting in the entertainment business. Like we had to have a CIA agent who comes from somebody who actually found bin Laden coming to our house, protecting our house, because, you know, my husband runs a studio. It has to do a lot. Being a public figure, they steal your things and you're connected to bigger corporations. And like, you know, being in this time, my husband's like, you can't release any Instagram posts. They can find you anywhere. No credit cards. I don't give my information to any stores. I try to protect it. It's increasingly hard. You know, I think it's the thing that I learned from, you know, the security person, that you can never connect to the Wi-Fi at Starbucks or airport. I learned that apps, if you have two apps open, one app will steal information from another. They will resell information from one app to another and then back to you through the Google ads. You can never do any passwords that represent any of your personal information, your house, your birthday, your name. I read in New York Times that one woman's whole identity was stolen with her passport, everything. She was nobody, literally, in one day. And she wrote about her journey, about recovering her identity, which was very hard to prove who she really is. And it ruined her life. And I think it's something that we struggle on, and especially our kids who are so susceptible to that. I know that at school, for my kids, they do TikTok constantly. They have whole sessions on like how TikTok picks up your background noise, you know, everything. Like we think we just participate in like the social connection, and it's sold to us as like, oh, social, you know, room to connect as people. But, you know, these apps connect information. I watched an amazing documentary many years ago, saying like, you know, 5 years ago, maybe. It's called The Greatest Hack. And every, you know, financial person had to watch it. It was about Cambridge Analytica, and it was talking about how people steal elections and they collect your data on Facebook and how they target you back. It's so subconscious. Unless you're alert 100% and you know what subconscious mind made you do, you know, it's all psychology. Coming from modeling, I know how to sell products because I had to learn all the subliminal psychology of makes you buy things, that it's always emotional. So, there's a lot of issues that come back to all these balloons that who knows, or objects, so to say, who knows what it is. It's definitely an alien object, so to say. And I'm interested to see how, R-rated or how actually exposed the information about the release of it will be, or how classified it will be. It is impossible to know as a civilian, but I think we always have to fight for our rights to know things and judge critically, because the only thing that will save us in this world, and honestly saved me in the last 5 years, is critical thinking, and not thinking on one side or another, belonging to one opinion or the other. Coming from Russia, I've been canceled without opening my mouth, even though I don't feel I belong to any culture or any political. I'm a humanitarian first and foremost, but I've been put in a situation where I definitely have to think from all kind of sides and assess the information. So whatever comes out of it, we'll find out more. I think it's very hard to put my opinion and be precise. Like, I know what it is at this point, but I'm curious to know. Yeah,
absolutely. And I agree with you. I think there's a very good chance that it's definitely a political thing. And I've also worried about, war between the US and China as well. There's been so much, strain between the two. How about you, Holly? What are your thoughts?
This isn't like a message in a bottle, for heaven's sake. It's one of those things where all these movies started coming out in Hollywood, from The Rescuers, an animated series that I absolutely loved because I'm a kid at heart, to anywhere from that to this other movie called Mermaid, which was a touching story about a mother and her daughter, and how a message that got delivered, and it was in a bottle, and her daughter had kept her faith on making sure that message was reached to her late father, that she never known. She thought her father was, and it was a struggle between her mother and her daughter, and it's just a touching story, and I loved it, and it was so warm, but it had so much depth to it. And the point blank is, this is not like a message in a bottle where you throw the note inside the bottle into the ocean and make sure that it gets somewhere to somebody and reaches. No, this is strategic. And how many places had gone to make sure that it got to its goal? What footage does it have on us is my shock. Like, I want to ask that question, like, number one, how many states did it get in? Number two, what is the footage about? And number three, what are they going to use for that footage? And number four, if the footage being that, are they going to use it against us in some way? So it kind of freaked me out a little bit too, also because my grandfather worked with NASA. And so I understand that. And so did my uncle, and some members of my family were just very high up in that department. And it kind of makes me think a little bit like that. And I totally understand Eugenia, as far as, some of my family doesn't even own computers for that very reason. And so it's one of those things where you constantly have to be on guard, for some people, that is a lifestyle that they don't know, that they're privileged to not know. Others, are you kidding me? Survival mode. So what kind of research do they have on us right now? How are they going to use it on the United States? And what's the United States going to do now? Because the ball's not in the messenger. The ball is in our court at this point. How could we let this happen? And why did somebody have to notify the president about it? The president and the leaders. I mean, where do they stand at this point? Do they even care about our privacy? What's this going to lead to? Does this affect the election? That sort of thing, without getting political, of course. I just feel like it was a complete invasion of privacy, but I was astounded by it, because there are so many new ways of technology these days, and there are so many things in outer space. I'm also excited about what outer space and the research that they're going to do. Hopefully this is kind of a breakthrough on more diseases, and a breakthrough in more research on more things and more problems that they can't solve. I mean, that we're on all these charities that we're trying to raise them, numerous amount, so much money, and we're focusing on, hopefully that'll stop some things, sex trafficking and diseases and famines and things like that. Hopefully the research will aid to that. So I'm also excited about that. So there's that point of view.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Holly. I appreciate the message in a bottle. That's an interesting way to put a spin on it. And you're right, it's not. It's way different. It's way different. This is a big deal. And to me, I don't understand how they could make a balloon get information. I mean, that's pretty clever. That's pretty clever. I mean, I would hate to think I was in a hot air balloon. Oh my gosh, somebody thinks I'm from China. They're going to shoot me down. I mean, I don't know how they would. It's very clever. I have to hand it to them. If they're using it to get information, it's a very clever way to do so. From the research that I have done, it seems like they used, because there was the question, why didn't they use a satellite or something else? And the reason that they supposedly used the balloon was because they could pick up other information that a satellite couldn't. And I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of how a balloon works better than a satellite, but apparently it could pick up, they're picking up from what I'm hearing, and we just never know. They talked about them getting like information from military bases and hearing conversations from like cell phone towers, and
Wow.
there's just, it's scary to think about. I definitely think it is, like Eugenia said, I think it's political. But how serious is it going to get? I don't know. There's been talk about, is the US going to send their findings back to China? Are they going to give them back their pieces of their balloon? Because there was a time in the past where they had shot down a US plane and the US wanted it back. Is China going to want their stuff back? I would assume so. But it's kind of creepy. And if it was me, because I haven't seen it in the sky, but if I would have seen it, I would have been a little bit in shock, because it was like this white ball just floating around, kind of like a UFO, which that probably frightened people too. But to me, it's like, why is it over here? Why is it over here? What do you want from the US? That's my question, is why is it floating over us? And it was really interesting because where they shot it down was like maybe an hour and a half from where I was that weekend. From where we have our other property is down near the coast. And I was like, wow, this is really close to home that it shot down. And then a friend of mine got the video of it. And it's crazy to think that it was right in my backyard. But I do think it's scary, and I do think that it's political, and I think that we haven't heard the last of it.
Marianne, they're spying on your animals and how you do good for people. Maybe they're inspired. Like, you want to know everything.
Oh, well, if that's what they want to know,
Didn't
then that would be a good I wish that's what they were looking at. Let's learn how to rescue animals. Let's learn how to have some compassion. I wish. So I have, for our third topic, I have something a little bit different, a little more lighthearted. Spring is just around the corner. Thank you to all the powers that be. I am tired. It's cold and rainy here in North Carolina, and I'm tired of it. But I was just going to ask, what are some of the things that you all are looking for doing as the weather gets warmer or changes? And does the season, as far as it being darker earlier, has it affected your mental health? And if so, what are some ways you combat that? Eugenia, I'm going to start with you.
First, a girl from Siberia where it's dark for like most of the time, 8 months.
Yeah.
Well, it's always sunny in California, so I think I moved for my mental health for sure. And there's not much seasons, but I do love seasons and miss them sometimes. I think changes are really good also for mental health. When it's raining in LA, I love it because it means I can stay in bed and write unless I have to be on set or with my kids or doing anything else. I think it's healthy, but also I look for internal sunshine all the time. I think it always comes from the inside, but it does affect you. I think, vitamin D and everything else. Well, for me, it's a big change now. This year, my son might move to Florida to play tennis professionally with MG. So it's a big spring kind of, cleaning, awakening, however you call it. I think life is all about change all the time. I love spring fashion. There's a fashion week happening soon in New York. Unfortunately, I can't go there because dealing with my son and my films, but I think it's super fun, always looking forward to that. And yeah, I think everything, the weather does affect mentally us all in some way, in different ways, but I think it does. I'm very sensitive, so that's always been on my mind. I remember being in Russia, we were sent to go to school in this snow covered till our knees, and it's freezing and it's dark, and I didn't want to study specifically. I wasn't motivated. I'm sure here my kids wake up, it's amazing, sun is coming up and it's just so scenic, and that's why I love California more than New York. I'm so happy to move from New York and live here because I can see the sky, the nature, the birds are singing, it's very inspiring. You meditate, you want to go to work. It's such a huge motivator. You want to go exercise and do things. At the same time, me personally, I was always an owl. I don't know what you guys think about that, because I've been, talking about with my husband. He's like, it's very healthy to go to bed at 9 p.m. and wake up at whatever time. But for me, it's always such a struggle. I was a baby who would always sleep the whole day. And everybody who come to visit my mother were like, oh, this is such a cute baby. It's just you don't know the devil. And at night I would wake up and she had to walk in freezing cold in Russia with me all night because I wouldn't stop screaming. So the time also affected me, and it still does. I think that's why I do comedy, because my mind works better when everybody's asleep and I have my time to my own, do creative things. I kind of struggle with that as well. Yeah, I think, mental health and weather and seasons is a big thing. I think we're all affected in a way because we're part of the cycle. We're all connected. We're part of Earth. So that's what
I agree. And I bet it is nice to live in California where it is sunny so often. I would love to see more sunshine because it has been so gray here. How about you, Holly? What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Honestly, I'm looking forward to the sun a lot more. My body reacts. I'm seeing that some of us are fair skinned. I'm fair skinned. I'm one of you. Hello, join the club. Yeah, we've got t-shirts, of course. And our t-shirts are overworn because we have to wear them every day. No, wear them. You know what? I have fair skin, so I love the sun. The groundhog, I don't know if he saw his shadow this year. You know that whole thing about the groundhog. If he sees his shadow, I think the winter's gonna last, whatever. And if he doesn't, we're gonna have a sunnier. For some reason, I feel like the days are a gloomier. I feel like people are staying indoors, and I think that the news is trying to create a fear. So I'm looking forward to, for spring, absolutely wearing brighter colors. I'm looking forward to the media advertising brighter colors in fashion and things like that. I'm looking forward to more recommendations, that people are going to read on books and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to more colors, just changing my wardrobe, for heaven's sake, instead of the coats all the time, to that, of course. I'm also looking forward to just what springtime represents, drinking cold lattes versus hot. I'm really sick of warm coffee. I want to drink iced lattes, please. I want that. I want that. I want the marshmallow lattes, and I want ice cubes in it, and I can't get ice cubes in it because I'm so cold. Even if the sun is out, it could be like 80 degrees and I am wearing a coat. And I don't know this about me. I have a weird body temperature to me. I'm always cold everywhere I go. So I'm just kind of looking forward to that and seeing more people smile. People need to kind of smile more. Not everything is always bad all the time. So just kind of being more thankful. I'm looking forward to what the spring is going to usher in. It's going to usher a lot more lighthearted things, a lot more activities, a lot more sports games outdoors, seeing a little bit more life, you know, seeing the trees greener and things like that, things that we can breathe for.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love my cold coffee, but I love my hot coffee year round. I have to say, I have hot coffee in the morning and I'm more likely to get cold coffee in the afternoon. But I get what you're saying. When it's cold, you don't want the cold coffee because it makes you colder. What about you, Bettina?
I only drink hot coffee. When it's boiling hot, I'm drinking hot coffee. And my husband's like, you know, he goes by the seasons, the temperature of his coffee. That's funny. I mean, and I don't really like the cold. I way prefer if I was living in Florida or California or something, but I do live in New York, so I have to make the best of it. I mean, we have a fireplace in the house, which I really enjoy doing that. You know, my husband's a jazz musician, so like today, we went out to hear him play, and that's just like a nice cozy thing. I invite a lot of friends and, you know, have that warm like feeling. It's, you know, it's nice. So there's things you can do in the winter that's kind of nice and fun. But I am looking forward to the springtime. I have some plans to go to the Jersey Shore for a week, the end of April, and other fun things, biking, hiking, you know, outdoor activities. I think we're going to get a new puppy soon, which I started to talk about last week. I think we actually found a puppy that we like I think he's in North or South Carolina, and we're going to have to try and meet this person halfway. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's near me. So cool.
Really cute little puppy. We're gonna be like training a puppy and taking him outside every hour, and yeah, so hopefully that's gonna work out soon. So that'll be nice in the, you know, when it's warm out, and you know, there's a lot of things around here to do, boating and and I love going to the pools and stuff. So there's a lot of activities I really look forward to when it's warm.
Oh, I bet. And New York's probably got a lot to do. Like you said, I'm sure that there's
I live in a little town that's kind of it's almost a resort town upstate New Yorkish. Like, so a lot of people come from New York up here to like hang out, you know, in different for different things. There's wineries, there's a resort, there's like a lot of nice little stores. People walk around in the town and outdoor music events. So it's nice.
That sounds like a blast. Oh my goodness, that sounds like fun. I know here. Well, I would love that. I'll probably end up traveling more, so I would absolutely love that. Here in North Carolina, it's been cold. It's been rainy. My horse pastures are full of mud, and I lost my boot one day in mud, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so ready for the more daylight for sure. We usually plant a garden in the spring, so I'm looking forward to that. Riding my horses, being outdoors. I like to run. I like to be active. I have a treadmill, but I like to do things outdoors. It's very good for my mental health because my mental health is usually goes a little bit downhill when it's wintertime, because I like the sunlight. Like you were saying, Holly, I like the sunlight. It makes me happy. My animals make me happy. And after long work days, when I get home and it's dark, I can go feed them, but it's dark and it's cold and everybody's shaking and shivering, and we just want to be inside where it's warm. So definitely looking forward to the spring. I'm hoping that the temperatures, because we had kind of a warm weekend, and then today it got really cold again. And it's like in North Carolina, they call this state bipolar seasons because we can have, they call it fake spring. This is fake spring because it starts to get warm and then whoosh, you get cold again. So I'm just ready for some nice warm weather. And then I say that, and then it's going to be summertime and I'm going to say it's too hot. So that's how it always seems to go. But I am definitely looking forward to the spring. Well, we have had some awesome topics today, ladies. Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about?
Valentine's, what do you guys think about that?
Yes, Valentine's. I forgot about that. I do not have any major plans. My husband and I may go to the mountains for a night or two and go to a nice restaurant. But as far as gifts, he asked for a something you drive posts with to make more fences. We always get each other very functional gifts. Last year it was a garden hose he wanted. So it's never, we're not typical. We usually, I mean, we'll get some candy and stuff, but we usually get gifts that we can use. One year he got me a toothbrush. Our first Valentine's, he got me a toothbrush, an electric toothbrush. Woo! That was a hot gift right there. What about everybody else?
I mean, I don't really know the origin of it, which I don't know if that was your question. So I don't know what to say about that. That might be interesting to know about. I mean, but we do tend to do something, whether we go out to dinner, exchange like little gifts. Although this year the gift may be a puppy, So,
That's a perfect gift.
We'll maybe we'll go to breakfast or dinner or something and, just do something nice, We like to
That
sell.
sounds perfect.
And as I said, I work at an event, so I'm doing a handful of Valentine Day gigs where I'm like dressing up with old red hearts and making big balloons with big red hearts on them. So I have at least 2 gigs. One's like the day before and the day after, which is nice. So it's a big like holiday in the event world.
So.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been married?
We got married in October of '93.
Oh,
So I think this
Oh,
year,
almost 30 years.
yeah, it sounds like this year's gonna be 30 years. Oh my God. Yeah. So probably in October we'll do some sort of party.
Fun.
It's amazing. Yeah. I got lucky.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eugenia, do you have any plans?
Oh my God, I was waiting for Holly to answer. I love the silence of that. I was like, I'm the one who asked the question.
you're waiting for me. I was waiting for you.
Okay. Well, I think it's freaking controversial. I think celebrating love in one day, who it was created by some corporations in America who want to sell us lots of stuff, and like suddenly you're pressured to deliver in this one day, and it's supposed to be this perfect representation.
Oh my God.
Hello, I don't know. Life is messy. We're humans. It's imperfect. I think, I understand marriage is like it was for the land or something when women can't make money or, they can't have a career. I think it's a lot of pressure. Honestly, what if I feel mad at my husband at that time or anybody I'm with?
Exactly.
Supposed to be this like, hey, here's like a perfect thing for you. I don't know. I think being is messy. I feel love is something that I wake up with every day and I try to set up my mind. And, we are works in progress. Like, I know I'm trying to meditate and read things on how to be a perfect human being and be my best version of self. Do I fuck up? If I can't say this word on the show, I do mess up all the time. All the time. It goes from high and low and you just figure it out and you grow. And, I think for me, every day is a Valentine's Day because, being alive, having people, having connections, whoever it is, you know, having a soulmate as your dog. I'm happy with that. You know,
Yeah.
if any kind of connection is cherished and really appreciated on any given day. So I proclaim, let's celebrate Valentine's every day. It's not about material things or perfect things that we can keep forever looking the same as they are. You know, I don't know. I think it's a lot of pressure. I'm feeling just anxious thinking about it.
I agree. I understand. I think that might be why my husband and I don't make a big deal out of it, because we get along really well. We have for 5 years, and it's like he's good to me every day. I don't feel the need for him to go out and buy me flowers and spend $100 on 12 roses when he's good to me every day. I mean, let's just eat something and smile at each other, and that'll be great. I'm totally happy. All right, Holly, how about you?
Honestly, like I agree with Eugenia. What if you're like mad at your boyfriend or something? You know, it's one of those things where they show like you like, oh hey, I got you that. Oh, okay, good. I'll take the chocolates. And the next thing you know, they're shoved in your mouth, and you're just like, oh, you're still in the room. No, I'm totally teasing. No, but that's real. It's real to eat all the chocolates. Leave the dude eat the chocolates. You know, like they say in The Godfather, grab the cannoli, leave the gun on a F for war. You know, so that's a very real thing. No, I absolutely agree. I think it's overhyped. I think it's Saint Valentine. So the whole holiday was not even about love. It was kind of, yeah, it's not even about love. The whole Valentine, it was like Saint Valentine. And I think his name wasn't even originally Saint Valentine. If I can research that, I think in Latin, it got translated over time. I think it was made in like 1848 or 1814 or something like that. It was made like like an 18th century type of deal. And the whole thing is kind of based on Catholicism. I agree with Catholicism. I got nothing against it. So with that in mind, it's not even about love. So I don't know. I think a lot of people have been known to do this. They have gone to statues and they have visited these statues on Valentine's Day or planned a trip a season before that. And then they went and took these trips, these like lovers who wanted to make their marriages work or whatever, went to these statues and like you know, did whatever the ritual consisted of. And then they said, okay, well, so when it comes to Valentine's Day, things are going to manifest. So I think the whole article for St. Valentine's Day was based on that. And I don't even know what the rate for the success rate for some of these marriages are. Because it's hyped, I don't even know. I think it's media hyped. And unless people are really in love, nothing's really, you know what I'm saying? It goes without saying anyway. So I believe in love. I do believe in that, but I believe that you really shouldn't go to a statue to make things work in your marriage. But anyway, people do it. I read that in history somewhere. There's this Google article about people who are giving like homage to Saint Augustine and these figurines in this one museum around him or something. They were going to like a museum and somewhere, I forget where, like it's not even in Washington. It's like a specific place where you would never guess, you know, one of those things. So they just went and they paid homage, and I have no idea if their marriages are working right now.
That's very interesting. Very.
Yeah.
No matter how anyone chooses to celebrate Valentine's Day, I hope everybody has a great one. I'm probably going to be, let's see, it's on a Tuesday. I'm just going to be in my pajamas that night with my feet up and eating chocolate, maybe watching some TV. I'm not going to do anything special. I'll go out to eat with my husband after that, because on that night, it's going to be crowded and I don't want to be around the crowds.
Good thinking. You know, we always fly on Christmas for that specific reason, you know, because everybody's celebrating and you just want to be well, and you're like, okay, we're gonna fly and travel with no traffic.
Yep, that's smart thinking for sure. Well, it was amazing to see all of you this evening. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'm glad we got to share our thoughts on all these different topics. And is there anything else anybody wants to talk about before we go tonight? Crickets.
To tell everyone to watch our little interviews that were by the Daily Mail that came out today.
Yes, we are on the Daily Mail. So that was really exciting.
I don't know, for the Taste Awards.
I don't know if
It was just little blurbs, little interviews about each of us that we did. I think we're supposed to be in the magazine, FNL's magazine, but that hasn't come out yet, that article. So yeah, it should be. I posted it on my page, but I haven't checked to see if it's on FNL's page yet. But yeah, if you go to the Daily Mail 24, it should show it. All right, everybody, it was good seeing you all. And until next time, hope everybody has a good night and a great week.